Hey, what's up everyone? Southside Braves here, and today for you I got another Gridiron update video for week 14 of the NFL season. I know it's been a little while since I've done one of these. Life got a little busy, but had some time this week. I wanted to get another one of these out, and again, I'm going to continue to do these when I can, so wanted to get back to it. So here we go for week 14. Let's jump into my power rankings. So it's been a long time since I did the power rankings, so I don't have how far somebody climbed or fell, but let's just look at it here. These are your bottom 8 teams, the worst of the worst in the league. Giants at 32. I still think how they treated Daniel Jones on his way out was kind of disrespectful to the guy. And then starting Tommy DeVito instead of Drew Lock was weird to me. And then DeVito got hurt, so he went to Lock anyways, and it's all bad right now. And this is coming from a guy that likes Illinois football, and Tommy DeVito is a Illinois quarterback, but he's not NFL caliber to say the least. So they fall in at 32. 31, we got the Jaguars, who just lost Trevor Lawrence for the year after that hit by the Texans. And I believe the linebacker was suspended for 3 weeks, if I'm correct, off that hit, and Lawrence is officially done for the year. So they were already not good, and without Lawrence, it's not like it's going to get better, so they're at 31. Raiders at 30 after almost pulling an upset against the Chiefs and just fumbling it away at the end. They're at 30. 29 is the Patriots. I actually been kind of impressed with the way Drake Mays played, but the rest of the team around him is not good, so they're down there at 29. Titans at 28. Jets at 27. Man, their season has absolutely fallen apart. A lot of people had high expectations for the Jets, and here they are at number 27 for me. Number 26, Panthers. Bryce Young starting to play a little bit better for them, but again, the team is not all there yet. But again, starting to show signs of life, at least, for the Panthers. Browns at 25. I kind of like Jameis Winston, to be honest. I definitely like him more than Deshaun Watson there. And he's been classic Jameis Winston. Go for a ton of yards, ton of touchdowns, and a ton of interceptions. So he did beat the Steelers a couple weeks ago, but we got our rematch game against them coming up this week. So these are your bottom 8 teams of the league. Moving on to 17 through 24 here. Oh, whoops. Extra logo there. Let's get rid of that extra Jets logo. No one wants extra Jets. So 17 through 24 here. Bears at 24. After that Thanksgiving Day game and the firing of Matt Eberflus, hopefully things will start to look a little bit better for them. I feel like, especially in the last couple of years, fire a coach that next week your team actually plays really well and wins. So I would not be surprised to see the Bears win this week. But yeah, they're there at 24. Number 23, the Saints. Man, their season started off so well. They scored back-to-back 50-point games or whatever. Had the best offense in the league 3 weeks in or whatever. But injuries tore that team apart. And honestly, they just weren't as good as we thought they were. So they're at 23. Bengals at 22, and what people have said all year, they're the best 4-8 team maybe ever. Steelers had to put up 44 to beat them this week. But unfortunately for the Bengals, most teams can put up 44 on the Bengals. That defense is horrendous. So they're down there at 22. Cowboys at 21, another bad team that's actually starting to play a little bit better. They did get Micah Parsons back, and even though I hate Micah Parsons, that defense does look better with him on it. Cooper Rush just played better after that first start where he was awful against the Eagles. So that team is poised to play some spoiler here at the end of the season, but they're still 21st ranked team in the league. 20th is the Niners, another team that's been destroyed by injuries this year. I still think there's hope for them to turn around here in the last 5 weeks of the season, but they need to start getting some wins and stacking wins on top of wins. So they're there at 20. Dolphins at 19. I still think there's an outside chance that they can climb up and get that 7th spot in the AFC. Currently the Broncos have it, but I don't think that's as secure as the Broncos would want it to be. I think there's a couple teams lurking within 2 games of them that could make a late run. Dolphins being one of them. At 18, Colts kind of being another. They're actually even a game closer than the Dolphins, I believe. Maybe a game and maybe a half a game closer. I don't remember by situations. But Colts are within striking distance of the Broncos for the last spot in the AFC. We'll see if they can make a run to get there. Rams at 17. That whole NFC West is within a game of each other. Or maybe 2 games now. That was last week. They were all within a game. But yeah, Rams, Niners, Cardinals, and Seahawks, all 4 of them still alive for a playoff spot. Now let's take a look at your top half of the league, 9 through 16 here. Buccaneers in at 16. Yeah, that Buccaneers are kind of a tough team for me to get a gauge on. Some weeks I really like them. Some weeks they just don't show up. So we'll see. They're another team that's fighting for a playoff spot with the Falcons for that division. So we'll see if they're able to get in. Cardinals at 15. I'm going to be honest, of the 4 NFC West teams, I think the Cardinals have the highest ceiling personally with the play of Kyler Murray. So I think they would be the most dangerous of the 4 if they were to make the playoffs. But again, they could also be a one-and-done team and do nothing. So we'll see how the Cardinals end the season. Falcons at 14, currently winning that division. The lowest, I believe, of any of the division leaders I have. Because Kirk Cousins did not look good last week. He's had a couple of rough games in a row. But the Falcons are still currently a division leader. So they are there at 14. Broncos at 13. I mentioned they are currently the 17th in the AFC and would be the final playoff team in. Bo Nix has improved a lot from the first month of the season, and I believe last time I looked might be the favorite for Rookie of the Year now over Jaden Daniels. I know it's close between those two, but yep, Bo Nix has that team in the playoffs right now, and there's a good chance they stay there. If they can handle their business, they will be in the playoffs. Number 12, you have the current NFC West division leader, the Seahawks. I don't really have much to say about Seahawks. They kind of are what I expect them to be. They're a quality team, but not a great team. And yeah, they're going to play good football, but if they play a really strong opponent, I usually will not pick them. But if they play a weaker opponent, Seahawks will beat them. Like I said, they play good football, but not great. Texans at 11. Kind of one of the wild card. Well, I say wild card. It's not actually a wild card team, but one of the teams in the AFC that I don't know what you're going to get from in the playoffs. I think they'll definitely be in the playoffs. They'll win that division. But the Texans, a lot of people had very high expectations for them coming the year, and they haven't lived up to those. Specifically, CJ Stroud hasn't lived up to those expectations. But again, they could turn it on and be a really strong team. So they're there at 11. Chargers at 10, a team that a lot of people are starting to get more on the bandwagon with. Have played really, really good defense this year, and Justin Herbert's been phenomenal. They have yet to beat a quality team. We'll see if they do that this week. They have a matchup against the Chiefs, who they lost to by 1 score last time around. So if they can pick up a win this week against the Chiefs, I think more people will be talking about the Chargers than they even are now. Number 9, we have Washington with Jaden Daniels, as I mentioned earlier. I like the way this team plays. They had kind of gone into a little bit of a slump here the last few weeks. Picked it up this past week. Got up 28-0 early. I like what I heard one of the announcers say. Can't win a close game, then just get up 4 touchdowns early, and then you don't have to worry about losing a close game. So, Commanders in there at 9. Now let's look at your top 8 teams in the NFL. Number 8, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Another team that's kind of been losing some games they shouldn't have, but pure talent-wise, they are one of the most talented teams in football. And as a Steeler fan, I hate saying that, but we handle our business against them. But yeah, Ravens, super talented. I can't keep them out of the top 8. They are there at number 8. Number 7, the Packers. This one's weird for me because I'm going to be honest. I'm not the biggest Jordan Love guy in the world. I think he's good. I don't know how great I think he is, but he's a really good quarterback. But the team's played well and they're winning games, so I have them there at 7. Of this list here, the top 8, probably the team I have the least confidence in, but there are some people that really, really believe in the Packers and think they can make the Super Bowl. I don't know. I'm just not fully there on the Packers yet, but they've been winning games and they're a good team. So they're there at 7. Number 6, we have the Vikings, my surprise team of the year. I'm pretty sure in my first one of these, I said the Vikings would compete for the worst team in the NFL. Clearly, I was wrong there. Sam Darnold in that team has had a phenomenal season. The defense has been what actually surprised me the most. I thought the offense had potential. I thought Sam Darnold could have a bounce-back season. Obviously, you have Justin Jefferson in that wide receiver core. I thought the defense would struggle this year, and they have not only not struggled, they've been a strength of that team. They have 10 wins already. Yeah, and they've been phenomenal. So there they are at 6. At 5, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. who I believe some people are starting to come around on, could be an actual Super Bowl contender. A lot of people had questions about the offense, and the offense put up 44 this week. Now, you can say it was against that bad Bengals defense, which it was, but just showing the capability that that offense can put up points like that, along with the great defense we have that didn't play great this week, but when we needed it, made splash plays to win that game, such as the Herbig strip sack picked up by Peyton Wilson for the touchdown. So this team can compete for a Super Bowl. I believe in us. We're there at number 5. Number 4, I have the Kansas City Chiefs, tied for the best record in football, but people will talk about how they're doing it. Barely beat the Panthers, barely beat the Raiders on a missed snap. They blocked a field goal against the Broncos to win, all this stuff. But if I'm going to be consistent as a Steeler fan, I've said for years, it doesn't matter how you get your wins as long as you get your wins. And the Chiefs are getting their wins as well as anybody in the league. So I do have them at 4. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. We got a Christmas Day game between the Chiefs and Steelers. It should be a fun one. But Chiefs in at 4. Bills are at 3, one spot higher than the Chiefs because they did just beat the Chiefs a few weeks ago. So Bills are currently, to me, looking like the best team in the AFC. As a Steeler fan, it's a team I would least want to see in the playoffs. But another team I was wrong about. I said the Bills would have a big step down this year. I thought this was going to be their worst season in the last 5-6 years. And much like the Vikings, clearly wrong. I now have them as the top team in the AFC. And yeah, we'll see how it goes for them in the playoffs, which is really where the Bills need to make noise for this to be different for them compared to every other season. Your top 2 teams, I have both NFC teams. Number 2, I have the Philadelphia Eagles playing really, really good football lately. Since their Super Bowl run, I think they've been a great team. The only thing that's held them back during points where they would go on these big losing streaks is turnovers. When Jalen Hurts was consistently turning the ball over, they were not a good team. Over the last, 2 months or whatever, he has barely any turnovers, and they look back to being a great team. Not to mention Saquon Barkley having an MVP caliber season, but that team is really good when they do not turn the ball over, and they have not been, so that's why they find themselves at number 2. Number 1, the best team in football, we have the Detroit Lions. The Lions, it's just weird to see the Lions at number 1. My whole football watching life, they've been a terrible team, but yet here they are, number 1 in the league. Goff and that offense is obviously phenomenal. The defense still has some question marks, and Goff did have a 5-turnover game a few weeks ago, but yet they won that game. So I don't think the Lions are the unbeatable juggernaut that sometimes number 1 teams are in the power rankings, but I do think they are currently the best team in football, and they deserve the number 1 spot in my power rankings. Now let's take a look at the upcoming matchups for this week. So first off here, on Thursday, we got Packers at Lions. The NFC North, currently the best division in football, and these are 2 of the better teams in it. There are 3 relevant teams in the NFC North. These are 2 of them. So this will be a fun one. This will be very telling if the Packers are actually for real or not. Because again, I have them at 7 in my power rankings. They have a great record. I'm not fully bought in on the Packers, and for that reason, I do believe the Lions will win this game. I think the Lions are the more complete team. They're the team I actually have more confidence and trust in. Again, I don't know. Something about Jordan Love, the way he plays, I don't know. I'm not fully bought in on Jordan Love. So we'll see how this game goes, but I'm taking the Lions on Thursday. Next up, we have a game that no one will watch. Jaguars at Titans. I'm just going to pick the winner, but we're going to kind of skip through this one a little bit. The Titans are at home, and they have their quarterback, whether it's a good quarterback or not, it's a different question. But Trevor Lawrence is not playing, and they're on the road. Give me the Titans in Tennessee. And again, we're not going to talk about the games that no one cares about too much. All right. Next up, Jets at Dolphins, another game that not many people care about. I do still believe the Dolphins have a small outside chance of getting that 7th seed in the AFC. And for that reason, they have something to play for. The Jets do not, and the Dolphins are at home. So I'm going to take the Dolphins at home to win this one and kind of stay in the race for the playoffs for the AFC. So give me the Dolphins. All right, again, kind of speeding through that one. Let's get to another relevant one. Here's one with some relevance. Falcons at Vikings. So Falcons coming off arguably Kirk Cousins' worst performance as a Falcon. I started seeing some articles about possibly going to Michael Penix. I don't think they will do that. I don't think they're even really considering it. Yeah, but Kirk Cousins versus the Vikings. Should be a fun one. A little bit of a revenge game, you could say. That term's way overused, and I'm using it sarcastically here, not for real. But I guess quarterback revenge game does mean a little bit more. But one of these teams is at home. One of them is playing good football. One of them is not playing good football right now. So I'm just going to go with the theory of momentum. And again, the Vikings are coming in playing better football, and they're at home. Actually, looking at my picks this week, I picked a lot of home teams. Maybe the most home teams I've ever picked. I always lean towards the home team. It's kind of like a tiebreaker for me. But yeah, this week I picked a ridiculous amount of home teams. Maybe because I just feel like there's less competitive games this week. But this one should be a competitive one. But give me the Vikings at home against the reeling Falcons. Next up, again, a game no one really cares much about. It doesn't have any playoff implications, so we're going to speed through it a little bit. This is actually one where I did take a road team. Give me the Saints to beat the Giants. Again, I don't even know who's playing quarterback for the Giants this week. I don't know if it's Drew Lock. I don't know if it's Tommy DeVito. But either way, I'm taking the Saints. The Giants organization just has organizational issues right now that they need to get fixed. So, yep, give me the Saints. Moving on. Do we have a competitive one or not? Well, one of these seems relevant, but this won't be a competitive one. Although I do, like I mentioned, I do think the Panthers are playing better football, but not anywhere near the Eagles level. Give me the Eagles here, easy, at home. Again, not much to say. Eagles should dominate this football game. Next up, we got my favorite game of the week, that being the Steelers game. You guys know how this one's going to go for me. So this one we'll talk about. A few weeks ago, Steelers lose in the snow in Cleveland to Jameis Winston and the Browns. We will not let that happen again. We have stuff to play for. The Browns do not. They beat us in Cleveland and acted like they had won the Super Bowl. This is one of the most important games of the season to them, specifically to Myles Garrett. He has a vendetta now against TJ Watt after TJ Watt, these are quotes from Garrett, owes him an apology for the way he acted about Defensive Player of the Year last year. I think that's ridiculous. Myles Garrett, you won your award. Take it and go. Don't worry about how other people reacted to it. And TJ Watt did get robbed of that award. So TJ Watt specifically will have a bounce-back game in this one compared to how he played against Cleveland last time. And we better do a better job against Myles Garrett. We can't allow him to get 3 sacks and a strip sack at that. So we need to do better against him, and we're going to win this game. So moving on. Next, we have Raiders at Buccaneers. Again, much like the Falcons-Vikings game, the Panthers-Eagles game. One of these teams has something to play for. They're at home. The other does not have anything to play for. Give me the Buccaneers at home if they want to continue to... Well, I say continue to keep pace with the Falcons, but the Falcons aren't running away from them. So I guess this isn't as much of a must-win as I first thought when I was starting that sentence. But the Buccaneers want to win this game. Make sure they're still in that race for the NFC South and try to win that division. Again, Raiders have nothing to play for at this point. So give me the Buccaneers at home. Just because the team has nothing to play for doesn't mean I don't think they'll play well. A lot of times those teams are dangerous, but it's hard to pick a team that season is already over. Next up, we have Seahawks at Cardinals. This is a huge game for the NFC West. I mentioned earlier when I was doing my power rankings, I think the Cardinals have the highest ceiling in that division, and they're at home. I'm taking the Cardinals here. Again, this is kind of consistency versus splash. Seahawks, I do believe, are the most consistent team currently in the NFC West. You know what you're going to get from them. For the most part, no one's 100% consistent, but Cardinals might be the most inconsistent team in that division if you thought injuries. Again, the Niners have been destroyed by injuries. But the Cardinals can play really, really well on any given week. So I'm going to go with that. I'm taking the Cardinals here to win at home over the Seahawks. And I do think the Cardinals are going to end up winning that division this season. All right, next up. We got Bills at Rams. And this is my upset pick of the week. I mentioned I took a lot of home teams this week, this being one of them. The Bills had a huge game. I believe it was a Sunday night game, right? Sunday night game against the Niners in the snow. It was a ton of fun. They blew them out. They had a great time. I think the Bills are kind of going to have a letdown game here. They're going to go all the way across the country to LA, and I think they're going to have a letdown game against the Rams, who need this. This is much more important on the Rams than the Bills. The Bills would need this to try to keep pace with the Chiefs for the number one seed in the AFC. The Rams need this for their playoff lives. So, again, I think the Bills are going to have a letdown game, traveling all the way across the country. I think the Rams are going to play well, and I think the Rams are going to upset the Bills. And, again, this is my upset pick of the week. Let's go Rams. Next up, another upset I considered picking. This one was actually tough for me. I mentioned earlier, I think teams, especially the last few years, have played really well the week after firing a coach. Whether it be an offensive coordinator or a head coach, I think the Bears are going to play really, really well this week. And I really want to pick them to win this game. But it's still the Bears, and something about it still, you feel like they're going to find a way to lose the game. So I'm taking... I'm taking the Niners to win still. But of all of my picks, even more than the Bills-Rams, this is the one I'm the least confident in. I do believe the Bears can. And like I said, a big part of me thinks they will win this game. If it were any other team other than the Bears, I probably would take them in this spot. But just the way the Bears have lost games this year, I just can't confidently do that. So give me the Niners in San Francisco. Next up, we got Chargers at Chiefs. I believe this is the Sunday night game. I mentioned the Chargers have a great record, but they've beaten on a bunch of bad teams. Every time they've played a team of relevance, they've lost. So this could be a big statement game for the Chargers. Excuse me. And the Chiefs have not been playing their best football. Have they continued to win? Yes. But they have not been playing great. Again, they barely beat the Panthers and the Raiders, two of the worst teams in football. So the Chargers, again, they need this game more than the Chiefs. Neither of them need it that real bad for their playoff hopes, but for their morale, I think the Chargers need it. I would love to pick the Chargers here, but much in the reverse of the Bears, I see the Chiefs and I can't pick against them. They find ways to win football games, and I believe they're going to continue to do that in prime time on Sunday night. So give me the Chiefs at home against the Chargers, but the Chargers, you need this game. Go win it, Chargers. And as a Steeler fan, I'm rooting for the Chargers to win it, but I believe the Chiefs will. And lastly, we have Monday Night Football. What should have been, at the beginning of the season, a primetime game between two locked-in playoff teams is now a pretty irrelevant game. I'm going to take the Bengals to win this on the road. This will be the other road team I take. Joe Burrow is having an MVP caliber season. Jamar Chase is going to win a triple crown. But yet the Bengals suck. But at least this week they're playing another team that has had a very disappointing season. This is a toss-up to me, and to be honest, I don't really care at this point. I hate both these teams. Again, as a Steeler fan, one's in my division, and one was a rival from the 70s. Hate them both, but I think the Bengals... So you have offense, defense on both teams. So of the four position groups, offense, defense for the Bengals, offense, defense for the Cowboys, I only think one of the four is good, and that's Bengals offense. Bengals defense sucks, and I think both sides of the ball have not been playing well now for the Cowboys. So give me the one position group that's good, and that being the Bengals offense. So that's my pick for this week. That is the final game of the week. Let me know what you think about my picks. Let me know what your picks are. Let me know what you think of my power rankings, who should go up, who should go down, and just any other general thoughts you have about the NFL season and these videos. Again, hopefully we'll be making more of these to end the season. Sorry there was such a large gap. Again, life gets in the way. But yeah, I was excited to make this, and I hope you all did enjoy. If you did, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. It would really help me out a lot. And yeah, all that being said, hope you all have a good day and a good night, and I'll catch you in a future video. Bye, guys.